Hey everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming, and in today's Baldurs Gate 3 guide, we're going to be looking at the Hunter subclass for the Ranger. We're going to cover features at level 1 of character creation, including ability recommendations. We're going to give you a full level 2 to 12 breakdown, as well as go over all the spells available as you level. Towards the end of the video, I'll give you some general equipment recommendations and my thoughts on multiclassing as the Hunter Ranger. You can use the timestamps below to jump to the area that most interests you. Remember, drop a like and leave a comment below with your thoughts, feedback, and questions. Now, without further ado, let's check out the Hunter Ranger. Alright guys, here we are at level 1 with the Ranger. It's important to note your primary ability is Dexterity. You're going to have saving throw proficiencies in Dexterity and Intelligence. And your hit die is 1d10 hit points. You're going to have proficiency with simple weapons, martial weapons, shields, medium armor, and light armor. Now we don't get to choose to be a hunter until level 3, but we still have some choices to make it level 1. You're going to get to pick a favored enemy, which is different than it is handled in normal D&D. So this is mainly going to give you different proficiencies and potential effects. So Bounty Hunter gives you proficiency in investigation, and any creature you hit with your ensnaring strike, either the ranged or melee version, have disadvantage on saving throws. If you choose Keeper of the Veil, it's going to give you proficiency in Arcana and lets you cast protection from evil and good. Mage Breaker gives you proficiency in Arcana and lets you cast True Strike. The most impactful one is Ranger Knight, as it gives you skill proficiency in history, and more importantly, armor proficiency with heavy armor. So you can do a tanky heavy armor build Ranger if you like. And then if you choose Sanctified Stalker, you gain proficiency in religion and can cast Sacred Flame. As you level up, you're going to get to pick this multiple times, so don't worry if there's multiple ones that you'd like to have. You're also going to get to pick a natural explorer element. So the first one is Beast Tamer, and that's basically going to let you have a familiar if you like. You can also pick Urban Tracker. That's going to give you proficiency in Sleight of Hand. So if you want to be a ranger and you want to be kind of like the roguish character, but you don't necessarily want to bring around a rogue, this is a good way to do that. And then you can have one of 3 resistances. So you can have Wasteland Wanderer Cold, which gives you resistance to cold, or you can get resistance to fire, or you can get resistance to poison. And again, as you level up, you'll get to choose 3 of these, so pick whichever one you want. I could recommend poison for early game. Also, familiars are actually pretty decent, so you could think about that as well. When it comes to your ability points, I recommend starting with 10 strength. You're going to want to do 17 dexterity if you want to take advantage of the hag to get this to 18. And if you do that, then you can get Constitution 14, 8 Intelligence, 16 Wisdom, and 8 Charisma. If you don't want to do the hag mission / situation to up your dexterity, you could just as easily have this be 16, and then you have 2 more points. You could, for example, get Charisma out of the negatives, get it to 10, or the same with Intelligence as an example. Now at level 2, you're going to get access to spells. So you're going to get 2 level 1 spells, and then you're going to get to pick 2 spells. I'm going to mouse over the different spells. You can feel free to pause at any time to look in depth. Ensnaring Strike is a real popular one. And Hunter's Mark is also quite popular, as this is a concentration spell. You can use it numerous times. Do note that Long Strider as well as Speak of Animals can be cast as ritual spells. They last until you long rest and they do not take up a spell slot. Long Strider is extra good because you can cast it on other party members as well at no cost and get extra movement. And then you're going to pick a fighting style. Archer gives you +2 bonus to range weapon attacks. Can't go wrong with that if you're going to be really focusing on bow crossbow attacks. Defense is universally good. As long as you're wearing armor, you're going to get +1 to your armor class. Dueling is really only meant for if you're going to be going with a one-handed, probably finesse weapon, plus a shield. So if you want to go more tanky, especially in heavy armor, dueling might have a spot for you. And 2-weapon fighting is pretty much a must if you do want to dual wield, because it's going to allow you to add your ability modifier to the damage of your attacks of your offhand weapon. Now at level 3, you're finally going to get to pick your subclass of Hunter. To begin with, you're going to get one more level 1 spell slot, and you can pick one more spell. And then you're going to get a Hunter-specific Hunter's Prey feature. So you get to pick one of 3 specializations, either Colossus Slayer. So once per turn, your weapon attacks deals an extra 1d8 damage if the target is below its hit point maximum. So basically, as long as you've done some damage to it or somebody has, you do extra damage. Or you can choose Giant Killer. If the monster is larger or bigger and it attacks you, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack. And it's very important to note here, you must be able to see the creature and must be within 1.5 meters of you, so it can't be against a ranged attack. And you can also choose Horde Breaker. You can target 2 creatures standing close to each other, attacking them in quick succession, so it's a multi-attack. At level 4, you're going to have an opportunity to replace a spell, so if you don't like one of the spells you have, you can go ahead and swap it out. You're also going to get access to feats. Now, as far as feat options go, you cannot go wrong with ability improvements, especially as you want to get your dexterity to 20. If you're going to go for a dual wield setup, then I highly recommend dual wielder. It's going to give you a +1 bonus to your armor class, and it's going to let you wield weapons that are also not light. Normally, weapons have to be light in order to dual wield them. If you're going to go sword and board, so that more tanky setup of a shield, you can get defensive duelist. Using a finesse weapon, which are the ones that you're going to use dexterity for your rolls. Well, as long as you're wearing that, you can go ahead and use a reaction to add your proficiency bonus to your armor class. So that is very good for a defensive focus setup. And then I would say the other one that is going to be top priority potentially, if you're going to go for a ranged setup, is sharpshooter. So this makes it so if you're shooting up at enemies, you're not going to have any negative penalties. And you can basically get the equivalent of a power shot. It's a passive ability that lets you get +10 to your damage rolls at the penalty of a -5 to attack. And you can turn this on and off as you wish. So those are probably my top 3 options I would recommend. Level 5 is a big level. You're going to get one more level 1 spell slot. You're going to get 2 level 2 spell slots, and you're going to get access to level 2 spells. And you also get an extra attack now, so you can do 2 attacks per turn. You, of course, will get a chance to replace spells. And here are the new level 2 spells I'll mouse over for you to take a look at. So again, pick the one that fits your build and how you want to play the best. At level 6, you're going to get to pick your second favorite enemy. So again, pick whichever proficiency you'd like to have the most. The secondary effects for most of these are not very good, except for potentially Bounty Hunter. And you can also pick your second Natural Explorer feature. Level 2 spell slot, you are going to get the chance to replace a spell. You're going to get to pick another spell, either level 1 or level 2. And then you're going to get to pick a defensive tactic, one of 3. Either escape the horde. So basically, opportunity attacks against you have disadvantage. Normally, if you move away from enemies without disengaging, they're going to attack you for free, so this will give them disadvantage. Steel Will. Your Unshackled Resolve grants you advantage on saving throws against being frightened. And the last option is multi-attack defense. When an enemy attacks you, they have a -4 penalty to attack additional attacks against you until the start of the next turn. So it doesn't help you on the first attack against you, but it helps on the second and so forth. So this can be very powerful. At level 8, you're going to get to replace a spell if you wish. You're going to get Land, Stride, Difficult Terrain. So basically, difficult terrain no longer slows you down. And you're going to pick another feat. So either pick one of the specialty feats, or this might be a good time to get your dexterity to either 19 or 20 if you got the Hag bonus. At level 9, you're going to unlock level 3 spells, and you're going to get 2 level 3 spell slots. You will, of course, get a chance to replace spells. and then pick one spell. That again can be level 1, 2, or 3. But again, if you're going to be a melee setup, Conjure Barrage is pretty darn good. For ranged, I recommend Lightning Arrow. At level 10, you're going to get your third and final favorite enemy option. So again, pick the one that suits you best. You're also going to get Final Natural Explorer. So again, to note, if you want to focus on resistances, it's very possible to get cold, fire, and poison resistances all in one as you level up. And then finally, you're going to get an action called Hide in Plain Sight. You camouflage yourself with your environment to become invisible. You're going to get plus 10 bonus to stealth checks as long as you stand still. So the problem with this is, unlike invisibility, the second that you move, this goes away. So it can situationally be okay to get an advantage on an attack, but it's not nearly as versatile as moving while invisible. At level 11, you're going to get another level 1 spell slot. You will get to replace a spell. You're going to get to pick another one of your level 1, 2, or 3 spells. And you're going to get 2 actions. The first one is Volley, and the second one is going to be Whirlwind Attack, which, as you could probably imagine, it's basically an AoE attack around you with a melee weapon. And since the tooltip doesn't do a very good description of it, I did want to show you what Volley looks like. As you can see here, it does 1d6 damage plus your modifiers. This is with that power attack effect enabled, so in this case it's plus 14. And as you can see here, it's a really nice AoE for an ability. And it kind of looks like this. And then finally at level 12, you're going to get one more level 3 spell slot. You get a chance to replace a spell. And then go ahead and pick your final feat. Now when it comes to equipping your Hunter Ranger, they're quite diversified. You can, again, make them be very good at melee as far as being survivable and staying in melee, or you can build them to be really good at doing damage at range, especially when you can do nice AoE range damage once you get the volley skill at 11. So armor wise, you definitely, I would recommend stick to either medium armor or the very best heavy armor you can get. If you're not going to be really relying on stealth, then you can get that extra defensiveness from the heavy armor potentially. When it comes to your melee weapon setup, I normally recommend one-handed weapon and a shield to maximize your defense so that you can really lean into doing maximum range damage. But it is also quite viable to go dual wield if you do want to do that. Just make sure you pick up the corresponding feats to make it effective. Support items don't have to be specific. If you are going to make him a frontline fighter, picking up like a Ring of Protection or a Cloak of Protection to get more AC or saving throws could be good. Otherwise, picking up some equipment that will give you, for example, Misty Steps. Like there's an amulet that gives you Misty Steps, so you can teleport to a high point at the beginning of battle to get advantage shooting from up high, or any other effects that are going to either increase the damage of your ranged attacks or melee attacks, depending what you're focusing on. Now, when it comes to the Ranger and multiclassing, this is a class that's interesting. It's got some pretty good passive effects for helping you be very survivable, have lots of different skill proficiencies, and again, you can build it to be melee or ranged. It doesn't have anything that's super uniquely powerful until you get Volley at level 11. So you're kind of stuck in a weird place of the Ranger. You can multi-class with it at lower levels just to get some of the benefits of getting good armor and some of those passives, but you can get very similar passives being a fighter, for example. So if you are really wanting to be a hunter as a primary element and you want to get the most out of it, then unfortunately means you need to go at least to level 11. So similar to the Beastmaster, this specific subclass isn't that suited for multi-classing effectively, in my opinion. But I would love to hear it if you have a good build utilizing the Hunter Ranger in the comments below. Alright guys, so that brings us to the end of my basic Hunter Ranger subclass guide. I hope you have found it helpful. If you have, make sure to drop a like If you want to see more content from me that's going to be RPG, looter, shooter related, then make sure to subscribe. Love all your support, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.